Um, Excited to have everybody here. Once again, this is our What's New with AvaSure webinar. We're really going to be focusing in on chatting about changes to our platform and portfolio of products. If we can jump to the next slide, this will just give us a quick preview of the things that we're planning to chat about. First, I just wanted to mention when we talk about roadmap or about recent releases, for us, the importance of the roadmap and the new products that we release really needs to focus in on our desire to be a partner to our customers as opposed to a vendor. I know those relationships can always be a little bit different depending on who we're working with, but we really want to be partners to the greatest extent possible. And so we're excited to chat about ways that we've been investing to support this partnership that we want to maintain. We're going to be chatting first about the platform, which so I suppose if you're not an IT stakeholder might be less interesting, but are actually really, really important changes that enable just about everything that we do. We're going to talk about how we've adopted a new philosophy of secure openness through integrations and APIs. We'll talk about what APIs are here in a minute. We're going to dive into the wide world of artificial intelligence to chat about that, and then also get into user experience. So the applications, the user-facing applications that we have. So we're excited to get into each of those. But first, let's jump to the next slide. As I mentioned here while we were jabbering away about Labor Day plans and Sarah's gravel bike, we have two fabulous people joining me here. So we're excited to meet everybody. My name's Jacob Hansen. I'm the Chief Product Officer here at AvaSure. I've been here coming up on 2 years and have been in health tech and product most of my career. Love our value proposition. I've also got Sarah Quiring, who is part of the product team and focuses on really all things continuous monitoring, but Telesitter has been leading the charge on artificial intelligence and has developed expertise in that she probably never wanted earlier in her life. Sarah's a critical care nurse, has lots of experience on the unit at the bedside, also working in virtual care workflows. Has been here, Sarah's at 6 years now, something like that.
Yeah, 6 years.
Yeah, don't blink, it flies by. And then we've got Brad, who is also a part of the product team, is dedicated to more of the teleconsult style workflows, virtual nursing, also resident integrations expert. And Brad comes from a whole career of working in product and engineering focused on lots of things: artificial intelligence, life sciences, and health tech. Lots of different topics, and has been with AvaSure now. Boy, we're got to be close to 5 months.
Yeah, getting there. Five
Yeah.
quick months. Seems like just
So
yesterday I joined and got started.
we've been having fun, that's for sure. Let's go ahead and jump to the next slide. I appreciate you both being here with me to talk about what's new with our products. So this says 2024 enhancements, but I got to be honest, this is actually the culmination of work that started even across 2023. We've made some really significant investments and changes to our products. The first thing I want to mention is artificial intelligence. Like I said, there's another slide where we're going to dig deeper into that. And we've had an AI team in R&D and a focus in product on AI for a while, but there were some real foundational things that we needed to do to prepare for the arrival of artificial intelligence in our products. We've now more than doubled our AI team and put a heavy focus on both augmentation workflows, where we're augmenting virtual safety attendants, as well as automated workflows on the backs of AI. Sarah's going to get into that more. On the second column here, we've made, like I said, core investments in the product. These are all things that enable all the iterative things that we want to do in the future. So as a nursing leader, as an IT leader, stakeholder, these should be important things. things like peer-to-peer networking and WebRTC, federated access and authentication. These types of changes will enable so much of what we want to do in the future. In fact, we're seeing the first versions of this with our new Episodic solution with analytics. We're going to talk more about that. On the integrations front, we often say, in fact, I should have mentioned this before, one of the reasons we wanted to do this webinar is we often say that for those who've known us the longest, this is probably the best time to get to know us or to get reacquainted with AvaSure, because for a long time, out of just what the market wanted and out of necessity, we had a very heavy focus on virtual sitting on a unit by unit basis. But really, there have been such significant changes in the market to focus on system-wide deployments or preparing for that with a phased approach. And so we've adopted a new philosophy of secure openness for access to our platform to support an integrated ecosystem. So we're going to chat more about that. And then also on the hardware front, we now have a full fleet of mobile and fixed devices that are fully bundled with all the things that you'd expect. So camera, microphones, multiple speakers, including a speaker for stat alarm, indication lighting, IR lighting in different form factors to support whether you're expanding a deployment of mobile devices that's focused on virtual sitting or moving into everything that we can do with a virtual care platform. So with that, that's just to whet your appetite. I know everybody out there is now on the edge of their seats to move to the next slides. Let's go ahead and jump to the next one. So we wanted to start by chatting about our investments that focus on integration and the way we partner and connect with other parties. And I want to start chatting a bit with you, Brad, on this one. So I just mentioned a philosophical shift toward this new openness for AvaSure as a business. And that really started in 2023 with the way that we standardized data integrations. Can you just chat about what those are, maybe a bit about how those work?
Yeah. So, I mean, one of the things we want to do is obviously make it easy for anyone and everyone to communicate with us. Naturally, coming with more of an, if you hear the word here say open, there's some security that needs to come involved in order to mitigate the risks. But when we talk about communication and integrations, we're really talking about communicating with the EMR vendors, the nurse call systems, any type of middleware or alarm and alert management solutions you may have. Honestly, we are looking into interactive patient care solutions. We're looking into clinical communication and collaboration solutions. Honestly, when we think about what our integration and our open communication stands for, it's really about allowing AvaSure to be that easy button for hospitals in order for us to expand their capabilities. The last thing we want to do is, have something, whether it be proprietary or hard to communicate with. We really have recognized that, look, your solution is great as is and can only augment itself with expanded capabilities. So to us, interoperability is core.
Awesome. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I think if I were to summarize back to you what you're saying, we have a standardized way right now to accept inbound data from EHRs, to send data back into EHRs, to send outbound events like stat alarms or status to nurse call or middleware or mobile handsets. So if as a customer of AvaSure, you have not already automated enrollment in something like, for example, Telesitter through inbound orders from EHR, or if you're not sending stat alarms to nurse call to simplify and expedite responses to stat alarms on the nursing unit floor, we want to do that with you, our partner customers. That's critical to strengthening workflow and doing things the way we know will help you, our partners. Another thing that comes up a lot, Brad, is we hear this term API, stands for Application Programming Interface, that supports connection with third-party apps and algorithms. Can you chat a bit more about this new API that we have here at AvaSure?
Yeah, so what it essentially does is it creates the hooks, or really, points of connection between us and third-party applications and algorithms. If you think of an API like a messenger, an API really helps solutions talk to each other and share information seamlessly. The biggest positive of an API is it typically requires zero human interaction. It just happens in the background, so it allows information to be readily available without a lot of button clicking from the user. Um, if you look at the right of our screen, you can start seeing some of our standardized integrations today. And note that this list is just the beginning. I mean, we're talking inbound, outbound data from the EMR, outbound alerts and integrations into your nurse call system or your mobile handset system or any care communication system. We also allow for the ability to have an inbound or outbound audio and video feed from our solution, so you can utilize the cameras that are in the room, as well as controller cameras. You can use the pan, tilt, and zoom features, the stat alarm, as we mentioned with the alarm and alert management. An inbound system can then control our stat alarm and set it off, as well as our indication light. That light is important. It seems minimal, but if you think about it within a room, having something that allows the caregiver to walk by, take a look at, and see, hey, something is needed in this room. That indication light really does help others understand the current status of the patient as they walk by.
So obviously our focus as a business has been on being an intelligent virtual care platform, meaning that we want to be able to support myriad continuous and consultative workflows. So for those who are participating in the webinar here and they're thinking, okay, I want to maximize my return on investment against AvaSure's platform. What action should they take? Let's say they've got some other application that could benefit from consuming audio or video out of our platform, or being able to control the camera, as you mentioned. What do they do if that's a next step that makes sense for them because we've released this new API?
Yep. So first off, we encourage it. The first thing that someone should do is really start talking with your account executive. That's your initial point of contact. But I do want to stress that we're excited about these workflows. We want to really drive integrations that provide value, and we look forward to hearing from all of our customers. If you have an integration that you're interested in, again, speak to your account executive and don't be shy. We really are we want to make sure that our customers are getting maximum use out of their application, and we recognize that interoperability is key in order for us to succeed as well as our customers to succeed.
Awesome. Yeah, we want to integrate early and often. So reach out to your account exec, tell them I saw this wild and crazy product guy Brad on a webinar, and I want to chat with him about integrations.
He said we can do anything, and so let us help you do anything.
Indeed. Let's go ahead and jump to the next slide. It is time for us to jump into talking about artificial intelligence. Let's see if there we go. Slide magically advanced. We, as I mentioned before, we've made really significant investments in becoming a market leader in artificial intelligence. Sarah, I want to come to you now for some discussion on this topic. Lot of noise in the market about AI. It's everybody's favorite buzzword all over the conferences that we go to. Can you chat a bit about the AvaSure philosophy relative to AI?
Yeah, so you really identified that AI, it's very much a buzzword today. And at AvaSure, our philosophy has always and will continue to be clinically relevant and patient outcomes focused AI. As a nurse myself, this is incredibly important to me. And so when I really think about AI at AvaSure, I think about it kind of in two different categories. So the first is augmentation. So the ability for AI to give the clinician a little bit of nudge in saying, hey, this patient is either at risk for a safety situation or maybe deterioration and needs a little bit more attention from you. And then I also think of it in terms of automation. So the ability for AI without a caregiver involved to really determine operational and quality metrics like the status of what's occurring in your room. Does the bed need to be cleaned? Does your patient maybe need to order their meal because they haven't already? So there's a lot of different ways that AI can really help out the caregiver. And yeah, I'm excited for everything that we've been doing at AvaSure.
So speaking of augmentation as opposed to automation, I think this is it's important that we designate the difference, because one of the concerns that we hear when we're out talking to our partners in the market is, well, what does this mean for people's jobs, for their roles? What does it mean to virtual safety attendants and observers? Can you just chat a bit about our first AI offering that we moved to general availability earlier this year, in fact, for Falls and Elopement?
Yeah, so our Fallen Elopement AI, like you mentioned, is part of our augmentation strategy. So it really nudges our virtual safety attendants who are monitoring patients in our Telestar application. And the AI identifies when patients who are at risk for falls or at risk for elopement are engaging in some behaviors that maybe need a little bit of attention. And this is really one of those human elements of virtual care, in that the virtual safety attendant can then speak to the patient, re-engage with them, have a conversation with them, and either redirect them or, if necessary, activate a stat alarm to help keep that patient safe.
Excellent. Um, I think probably many have heard through social channels or our other webinars, we recently acquired the smart solutions or the safety solutions from a company called UVA, including various AI models and the dev team that created and supported those. Can you chat about when and how we're making those available to our customers?
Yes, so we are currently working to incorporate UVA's technology into AvaSure's platform. And that technology is along the lines of the AI automation. So for use cases like bed management, for staff rounding, for patient flow, and then early patient mobility. And we anticipate that we'll be done with this development at the end of 2024, where we'll be able to make it available to customers. But if it's something you're interested in, we are having conversations about it right now. And I would definitely reach out to your account representative, and I'm happy to talk with what the next steps would be for our customers as well.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I would say not only have we started, but we want to be talking about this with as many customers as possible. We see lots of opportunity to partner together with our customers, and to work with you as we deploy these new AI models. So pretty excited about that. I also want to chat a bit about our roadmap for AI, but before we do, would you mind just telling people, anybody here that has concerns about privacy, can you chat about this is hot off the presses, new work that's been done in product and engineering. Can you chat about how we do that, how we handle privacy?
Yes. So in terms of AI, we handle privacy in a couple different ways. So with our automation, even though AI is constantly monitoring the room, there's actually not a person who can see the patient. So that does give them a degree of privacy. But in terms of data collection for privacy as well, we do completely anonymize our data, and then are able to feed our models that anonymized data. And that really gives us the advantage of continually updating and improving our models over time, which I'm so excited about. It just opens up the possibility to additional use cases and more AI information that we can continue to share with our customers.
Awesome, thank you. I really wanted to highlight that. That's something very new to what we're doing with our artificial intelligence. If you have questions about that, we'd love to get on a call. We can even show you some slides with the way a person is essentially the appearance of a person still there, but they look completely different. It's really quite interesting to see how that works. Also, I should have mentioned this at the beginning. I hope you're scribbling down questions as fast as you can. We love questions as part of these that we'll address at the end of our webinar. So one more question for you, Sarah, on AI. What's on the roadmap? What's coming down the pipe for additional models to go with all of this exciting stuff that we've already got?
Yeah, we have a really extensive roadmap coming for AI. So, kind of building off of the augmentation and automation, we're going to have additional use cases for monitoring suicidal patients for their safety, things like nutrition workflows on the automation side, detecting vitals like heart rate and respiratory rate through our existing cameras that are deployed in the field. And then coming up very soon, the ability to utilize a wake word to get a hold of your virtual nurse as needed, get a hold of your telesitter, or even in events of potentially violent or dangerous situations, getting the attention and intervention of security.
That was a well executed transition comment there, Sarah, talking about wake words. Number one, we are super excited about wake word, both the workflow around calling a virtual nurse and workflows tied to staff emergencies or duress. But that gives us a chance to advance a slide so we can chat about our new user experiences and applications, because wake words tend to tie pretty closely to some of those consultative workflows, especially the virtual nurse summons item. So I want to start with you, Brad. Can you chat a bit about recent improvements that we've made on the software side, the user experience side, to virtual nursing workflow?
Yeah, so one of the things we've introduced is our Episodic solution, and that really provides on-demand virtual nursing and caregiver support for the short-term patient needs. I'm a patient, I need this information, or I'm a caregiver or physician, I need to have a consultation with my patient. That's what our Episodic solution allows. Really, to me, you look at it as the ability to connect hospitals with their patients, no matter what physical location they're in. You don't have to. You can have communications with specialists across the country and get a same level of care now through our Episodic solution as you would if they were physically there. What it also does is it really enhances patient safety and care efficiency because the right discussions can now happen with the right resources. So by removing that physical barrier of someone physically having to be there to have a discussion, we're enabling, again, anyone can talk to anyone. So any physician, whether it's a heart specialist in one part of the country needs to talk to a patient in another, whether it's a telestroke specialist that needs to talk to another patient, or it's a group of caregivers wanting to do virtual rounding. All of this gets enabled through our Episodic solution.
And just to emphasize it, did you say how many people can join a group conversation with a patient with this new solution?
Yep. So at the moment, we support up to 6. And in the near future, I'm talking a couple of months, we're going to increase that to 10. So the ability, imagine 10 folks on a call all having a discussion centered around the patient, capturing that information needed, recording that information needed into the EMR. It really does, enhance those virtual care workflows.
And how does the new solution handle connecting to the patient and sort of that first moment of connection between caregiver and patient? What does that look like with AvaSure Episodic?
So with AvaSure Episodic, naturally it is a web-based application, so it allows a caregiver to, they don't have to install anything special on their computer. They can just open up a web browser. But what we do is within that in-room device, we utilize, it directly links your patient with our in-room device to really open up now a two-way bidirectional audio and video feed. So we have the ability to have a two-way conversation where the patient can see the caregiver can see the patient, and you can really, focus on whatever levels of communication you'd like to have from a verbal standpoint, but also, by having that two-way capabilities, you're removing that, that variable where I can't see the patient or the patient can't see me, so I can't understand their emotions, they can't understand mine. It really helps break down the some of the previous barriers that, a lot of virtual caregivers or virtual caregiving solutions have had, where a patient was talking essentially to a microphone versus talking to a face. Obviously, us as human beings enjoy talking to others, whether it's virtually or physically, being able to truly embrace and understand what that other person is doing, and that's where our two-way video comes into play. So again, Episodic, it's a very simple solution. It's web-based. It communicates directly with the patient inside the room. where you now have two-way bidirectional communication from an audio and video standpoint. And it honestly, it's quite a miraculous capability. It really does enable those virtual nurse workflows. And to me, just having that ability to speak with a patient, no matter where you're at, getting the right care, it starts revolutionizing the way we understand and look at healthcare.
And two-way video is critical. It certainly can take a conversation and bring it to life, especially for anybody on here. You can tell Brad and I are particularly verbose. We could go on for days, and then when you can see each other, this gets even more out of control.
Yeah.
So one other quick note: two-way video is really important, and we've also added something called polite entry, so that when a caregiver connects into the room, they start with no video. It's audio only. It gives them a chance to really replicate the experience of a caregiver coming to the door, knocking. Hey, I'm, such and such nurse. I'd like to talk to you. I need to check in with you. Are you ready for me? Kind of a thing. Unless, of course, it just demands that they connect right in right away. We can also facilitate that. But there is this element of polite entry. There's a chime that sounds out of the device, almost like a doorbell. Super excited about all those new features. Sarah, let's chat for a moment about analytics. We've got a lot of people here who probably have worked for years with what we formerly referred to as Orna. Tell us about this new analytics offering that we're all so psyched about here at AvaSure.
Yeah, so our new analytics offering takes our same great data that we had in Orna, and we've replaced it with a backend from Power BI. And what that really allows us to do is add in additional metrics that our nurse leaders have been asking for. One of the ones that we recently added in was interventions by virtual safety attendant, and that can really help our nurse leaders drive like staff optimization and then staff performance evaluation over time. But as we look towards the future, we're going to start pulling everything from our episodic data as well as our AI fall and elopement prevention and our new acquired UVA data into analytics as well to give you a complete picture of virtual care in your hospital.
Yeah, well said. I think it will give us a great opportunity also to even partner with other organizations that your health system works with. The combination of all the data that we'll have from those three things, AI, Episodic, and Telesitter, alongside other forms of data, can really drive a lot of interesting, actionable outcomes. Also, for any IT stakeholders on the call, when you hear Power BI, you might thinking, oh man, Power BI licenses are expensive. Great news. This analytics solution is really just a portal. We handle the licensing with Power BI. So you don't need your own Power BI licenses. Through this portal, it creates a click and drill down kind of experience that you'd be accustomed to from Power BI, but without the specific licensing. And then if you want to keep using your own tools, of course, we're happy to keep exporting data so that you can consume data the way that you want that way. All right, let's jump to the next slide. Before we get to Q&A, I do want to put in a little bit of a plug. We have our, I believe it's 8th annual AvaSure Symposium coming up. So glad that as of last year, we're back to being in person. We want as many of our customers, super users, people who are driving best practices there with us at the symposium. It is honestly my favorite event every year to be a part of the various tracks, rub shoulders with our customers and partners. It's just a lot of fun, really, really rewarding to hear all of the great things that people are doing with virtual care technology. So if you haven't already, go ahead and hit that QR code, and we really would love to see you join us and participate in that event. We've got some remarkable speakers who are doing really pioneering things in virtual care, and hope to see you there. Let's jump to our Q&A. We've got a few questions already popping in, so let me see here. I'm going to handle some of these. First question, you know what? I'll go ahead and take this one. Question is, where and how can I see the roadmap? How do I get familiar with what's on the roadmap? So two responses to that one. First, I'm going to go back to what I was just saying. One of the core things that we're going to review at the symposium is we're going to get deep into the roadmap and talking about what's coming on top of everything that we've just released and had a lot of fun here talking about. And then the second one is, as I noted before, our whole product team, myself included, we love to be out in the field with our customer partners, talking about what we're working on and really validating alignment of our roadmap and yours. So if you want to know more about what's on our roadmap, reach out to your account exec. They will pull our team into those interactions. We're excited to come and visit with you that way. Okay, second question. I have Epic. What integration options do I have? Okay, I'm going to flip this one over to you, Brad. Do you want to tackle exactly what forms of integration we have with Epic?
Yeah, so with Epic, first off, from a data standpoint, we can get information around the patient orders. So if a patient's, there's a patient order for virtual sitting, we can absorb that into our solution. We also have the ability to get information about the patient, such as their name. In the future, we'll get date of birth, MRN records, more of an ADT type feed, so that we can populate our capabilities with our list. You're able to now, you're calling a patient versus calling a location or a room. And then from an outbound standpoint, we're augmenting our solution with the ability to add notes. So if you want to maybe have a reason for your telesitting opportunity, you can insert notes into the EMR, as well as from our stat alarm and alert integration, we can also send that to the EMR as well, so that maybe the EMR would want to have a record of, hey, here's when an alert went off, here's when something adverse happened within the room. That can be stored on the patient's record as well.
Okay, and then there's two other forms of integration that we have with Epic in addition to the inbound and outbound data. One is called Epic Cal. So Cal is, some of you might have heard it called context-aware linking, but really the bottom line is, if you're using our AvaSure Episodic solution, there essentially will be a button in the patient record, and you can directly launch our web client, our interface, from the patient record. It will look and feel to the user like they're essentially staying in the EMR. And then at the conclusion of that call, it will come right back to the patient record. So that's another form of Epic integration. And then the last one is called Epic eCal, or embedded context-aware linking. If there are customers out there who are wanting to use Epic Monitor Remote Sitter as a form of continuous monitoring, a great example for this would be for deterioration use cases. If you want to use our platform, but use Epic Monitor on top of the platform for something like I said, for deterioration monitoring, then we can send audio and video and camera controls, like Brad was talking about before with our API, into Epic Monitor, and that's another form of integration that we have. So really 4 flavors of integration with Epic. For anybody that wants to talk more about that, we would love to do that. Third question is, let's see here. I'm only doing Telesitter today, but how do I add either virtual nursing or AI? So why don't we start with AI? Sarah, do you want to chat about how somebody would go about adding that if they're doing telesitting now?
Yeah, so I would definitely encourage them to talk to their account representative. In terms of adding on AI, we're able to utilize AI with all of our existing non-end-of-life devices. Not a significant technical lift to do that as well, so we can enable an AI pretty easily and get it up and running for a hospital that's interested.
Okay.
And then, Brad, I can turn it to you for virtual nursing.
Yeah, so the good news about virtual nursing is it is an expansion of your current telesitting application or your enterprise application. Essentially, obviously, first thing first, talk to your account executive on how to get this set up. But once you're ready for it, we as AvaSure offer free cloud hosting. So it's a cloud-based solution hosted in our AvaSure cloud. We do it for free. We'll get you set up. We'll get your devices upgraded to the latest and greatest software, and then after that, it's a simple education and services to get everything set up and ready to go. So
And
again, go
for
ahead.
our earliest deployments of those, we do have some incentives for those that start with us on those um, efforts to do some things at no cost, even with implementation. Um, Not sure how long we're going to do that, but at some point, you know, your license will be covered no matter what for those things. If you have a standard or enterprise level license agreement with AvaSure, um, and then the only cost would be just the services effort that we have to put in to deploy it. Okay, let's jump to the next one, um, which is, can I turn on AI on my devices today? I'll just refer back to Sarah's comment. Any non-end-of-life Guardian device can support that. And then another question, how do you handle the use case for Suicide Watch? Our hospital system has not cleared telesitting for this use case for safety reasons. Curious how this has been implemented with other systems. Sarah, do you want to take that one?
Yeah, I can take that. So like I mentioned earlier, we are going to be adding some AI augmentation for suicide use cases for the virtual safety attendant. But if you need assistance, kind of talking about that with your hospital leadership, our customer success team does have a ton of resources that they can give you, example policies from other hospitals who've successfully transitioned to monitoring low and moderate risk suicidal patients. So I would encourage you to reach out to your customer success advisor. And if you don't know who that person is, you can email info@avasure.com.
Awesome. Okay. And then we've got another one here. What current nurse call systems do you integrate with? Brad, do you want to take that one?
Yep. So that's kind of the beauty of our open API is we speak standard IHE, which means interoperating the healthcare enterprise standard IHE languages. So currently we have active integrations with Baxter or Hillrom's Volt system or Navicare nurse call system. We have integrations with ASCOM's nurse call system. We have an integration with Roland. Honestly, any nurse call system out there that accepts inbound alerts via the IHE standards, which the majority of them do, we can certainly integrate with. That's the beauty of having an open architecture. We all speak the same language. We all can do the same things. So again, we have Baxter, Roland, ASCOM, and honestly, the list could go on with, those are the ones that we have active integrations with, but there shouldn't be any.
I'd add Westcom to that list.
Westcom, yep.
So it really doesn't matter. We could hit any of them. Well said, Brad. Okay, it looks like that brings us to the end of our questions. I will say one more thing about, it's not just nurse call where we can be that flexible. If you have a middleware provider, call it Connexol or Ascom Unite or Vocera Engage or any of those middleware platforms, we can integrate directly to that, and then data, notifications, etc., can be sent to nurse call or care communication type solutions. Generally speaking, just know if there's a desire for us to connect to something else that's part of clinical workflow on the unit, we want to do that, and we generally have the flexibility to do it regardless of what vendor or partner you're already working with. Okay, so that brings us to the end. I don't see any additional questions in the queue. Just want to say thanks to everybody for joining. Obviously, Brad and Sarah and I, the others in our product team, we live to talk about product stuff. This is what we do all day, every day. I may or may not dream about these things at night. So we really appreciate your interest in understanding all the new things that we've delivered. And we're passionate about the changes in our platform. Like I said, with WebRTC and peer-to-peer networking and the foundational stuff with federated access, all of that, and then what it's leading to, this new episodic solution, the integrations like we talked about with Epic, Cal, and eCal, the new secure but open API, and everything that's coming on top of that, all the changes to our solutions and what's going to be new with the roadmap in the coming, just in the next 2 quarters, the things that we're super excited about. We appreciate your engagement. and can't wait to connect with you more about it. So we're looking forward to an influx of requests from account executives and customer success reps saying, hot dang, people want to talk to product. So look forward to that. Thank you all for being here, and we'll catch you next time.